Hey everybody, what's going on? This is Greg here with 12 Step Music, and on the line we have Jose Raul, or uh, also known as Gonzo, all the way from Guatemala. So, Jose Raul, thank you so much for taking the time out of your day and talking with us and our audience. How are you doing?
Great.
How's the
Thanks for having me.
you're welcome. I'm excited to talk about this our next music talk here. How's the weather down there?
It's cold.
Cold. What's the temperature like? Just so our, us Americans here. I don't know if we're the same. What's cold to you?
Like 60?
60. There you go, ladies and gentlemen. 60s is cold in Guatemala.
Yeah, it is. It's the coldest.
um, moving forward, I started this series because there's a great quote that Maria from Smart Bar, she quoted Frankie Knuckles, and he says, um, he said, we're supposed to be in this together, and therefore we're supposed to be helping each other out and helping each other along and holding each other up. So basically, I feel like we need to give back and inspire the next generation of DJs, producers, and give them tools and knowledge so that they can move forward and have some answers and it's from people that have been doing it. And I think this talk is about this talk is about creating a scene from ground up and creating a fan base from ground zeros. Maybe you can tell a little bit about what you're doing there in Guatemala, dancing records and dancing parties and stuff like that.
And dance and everything, you say.
Dancing everything, yeah. Like what's going on with you? Like where are you at with dancing?
Right now, we do some weekly parties. Also, we have few radio shows, the magazine, the record label, and it all began like Frankie Knuckles said, like helping each other. Like I really want. There wasn't a scene. Like the scene here was super small, and the only way to create a scene is to help each other. No barriers, no differences, just helping each other, and that's what it has been till today. 4 years later, after just starting with a weekly party that I wanted to do in a small place with 30, 40 people in the worst day, night here in Guatemala, Wednesday night. No one went out, but the idea was to have a night where we as DJs could have fun, and help each other and feel free to play whatever we wanted to play. And 4 years later, it's this. I don't know, it's something bigger, and even I didn't expect everything of this. So yeah, it's
Yeah. So can you tell our audience to who have you booked recently? I mean, maybe some of the names they can recognize and where you've gotten to now.
uh, last month we had Green Velvet here, and next Wednesday we're gonna have Chef Andy Martin and Jarvio from your city, um, and I don't know who else has been here. I don't know. Hector Morales from Apollonia was here. Uh,
Oliver S.
Oliver S. Yeah. Um, yeah, there have been a lot of people lately. Yeah. Who else? I think I'm missing a lot of people.
Yeah, you are. Maybe we can do as we can leave a list. I just wanted people just to see that you started basically from ground zero, and now you're able to bring in talents like Green Velvet. And that was, I mean, how was the scene when you first started in Guatemala? Like, what were there a lot of parties? Were there people like what was going
Uh,
on?
there weren't like maybe there was one party a month, if too much. Like if it was a great month, it was one party a month, and there was a small place called the Box, but it's like for 50 people, 60 if you fit in, like if you're, I don't know, all like this, 60 people, and that was about it,
Yeah.
And after that, there was a lot. There is a big scene on EDM, but not on our kind of music.
Okay,
And
so there was a scene for EDM, but you started something like with more like underground house events. So what was the first step you took?
what was the first step?
Yeah,
Like I used to play in that place. I told you the
the
box.
box.
I
Okay.
used to play. I used to play almost every Friday or Saturday,
Mm-hmm.
and and it was nice till all this EDM stuff came with the bang, and it was so popular and everything. So a lot of people, because we don't have a scene, a lot of people thought, oh, electronic music, EDM, underground, that's the same thing. So the only place here in Guatemala where you could listen to electronic music every day was the box. So people went down there, and a lot of new people came down when all this David Guetta and everything pop culture came out.
Yeah.
And I used to play Fridays or Saturdays, and as soon as this new trend or whatever came out, people, instead of just going out there and loving the music and dancing and feeling it like like true underground music, they went there and asked me for tracks like, "Hey man, can you play some Guetta or some
Yeah.
whatever?"
So there wasn't much of a demand for the music that you loved, right? So there wasn't too many people that were like into, like
There was, but
Chicago house.
very very
Very
few
small,
people. Yeah,
right?
like
So very small. So then you decide to start doing the night, right? Is that
yeah,
what I'm understanding? So you're starting to do a night, the box. How did you start getting the word out?
uh, helping other DJs,
Uh huh.
helping them to play because they were also, as myself, they were frustrated also because they couldn't get a gig where they could play and express themselves just like they want to, like whatever, I'm gonna play what I love. So I started inviting other people to play, and my idea was to create a night where people could, not just DJs could play whatever they want, but also people could get there and really get in touch and feel the music, not just like go out there and bounce and, I don't know, drink
Yeah.
and yeah.
Yeah, I understand totally. So
Yeah.
I mean, it definitely sounds like okay. So your first step was to start the night. Then you were I'm gonna invite other DJs to play at the night. Um, and then how did you start getting people to come to your nights? How did that start? Is it word of mouth or was it just consistency?
Uh, well, it was consistency for sure because I started playing every Wednesday. Even though there were nights that maybe there were 10 people, I just continued doing it every night and like every Wednesday. And after 6 months, like I didn't have anything to lose, and the owner, the box owner, didn't have also anything to lose because it was the worst night. No one came out on a Wednesday, so nobody had to lose. So he gave me the space, and after 6 months, that Wednesday was like the best day to go out. And I don't know. The few people that really like underground music went and started going out again to the nights, to the danzón nights, because they felt like at last there was a night that they could start listening to what they want. And I think that they really love the music and they really love to dance. And when people start loving what they do, that energy, I think, it's like a virus.
Yeah, I got
And
you. So it was
because
like
I didn't like use posters and whatever. It was all natural, like very organic.
So it was a grassroots campaign, basically starting by starting small, word of mouth, kind of spreading,
Yeah.
and it sounds to me like your whole purpose was just to kind of spread the word, or just, because you love the music so much, right?
Yeah.
Um,
That
so
was my priority was to have a night where I could play what the music I really love, and to have people dancing to my passion and their passion, you know. And even I didn't care if it was 3 people or if there were 60 people, but at least with 3 people I could express myself in fullest, you know.
completely understand. That's totally cool. So maybe you could say like maybe you can give a little advice to, like, let's say somebody out there is listening right now. They want to start a night and they're not quite confident about what's going on around. Um, but they've always wanted to get a night. Like, what would you say? How can they approach a bar or a bar or a place and basically tell them, hey, or ask them to do a night? I mean, do you have an approach that works with club or bar owners? I mean, what's your approach? What would you tell them to do?
I don't know. Maybe I would ask for the worst night, man. Again,
Okay. So that's a
I
good
would.
tip. I mean, you just go up to a bar owner, hey, listen, is there a night that's not performing well?
Yeah.
Can I?
Which one is your worst night, man? Uh, Give me a chance and let me show you what I got. You don't have nothing to lose. Like, let's try, you know.
Yeah, that's great advice. Um, so, and then following on that, I find that sometimes, or anyways, maybe even I shouldn't say. I think sometimes demons or whatever, our doubts, self doubts, kind of come into our brains and stuff like that. I'm a big believer in psychology. I mean, did you ever have any doubts? And if you did, how did you overcome them? What did you use to?
I still have doubts, man.
Yeah. Well, what do you do to keep? How do you, like, what do you say to yourself when those doubts come in?
Like I've learned that doubts will continue being there. Like
Yeah.
we're gonna have always doubts, and you just gotta continue doing what you gotta do, what you feel like doing, and start walking against your doubts.
Yeah.
Like that's the only way you can get out a doubt of your way. You know, like
So
just
so so if a little fear comes into your brain and says, Jose Raul, you can't do this. What do you tell it? What do you tell that little voice?
let's try.
Let's try. Okay.
Yeah,
So that's your word. Let's try.
because
And
I used to fight with that little noise. You know, like Jose Raul, you cannot do this. And I was like, yeah, I can do it. No, you can't. And at the end, it was frustrating. But I learned that I don't have to fight with that little voice. You know, like just leave that voice, start yelling whatever, and just yeah, whatever.
oh, I love that. I love that analogy. You just kind of like lead that voice.
Yeah,
It's kind of like if if it's a good analogy would be like if you come up to somebody and they start yelling at you, the best solution sometimes is just to walk away and then let them from a distance. You keep yelling, and eventually they're gonna fade away. And I think
yeah,
that's a great analogy, surrender. And Maria actually talked about a little bit of that too, where she just kind of surrenders. She surrenders to her little voices and just accepts them. Yeah, I think that is a great key. Um, so moving forward from there, so you got your night going. Your night's starting to go. It's starting to pop off. Um, what's next? What did you do next?
well, after 6 months, that Wednesday was like a super night, and a guy from Antigua, it's a city like 1.5 hour away from Guatemala City. A bar owner came to me and asked me like, man, I really like your nights. Let's do a danzón night in Antigua. And I said like, ah, let's think about it. if I do another dancehall night, I don't think it's gonna be a good idea. Let's change it. Let's do another stuff. So we started doing that on some sunsets, and I started doing like a different kind of the same thing but different at the same time. So I
How are they
started
different?
the music. It was at the sunset. It finished at 9 o'clock, and the vibe was different. The people was different, and the idea was to show another groove, another groove, another feeling. Yeah. And so we started doing the song nights, and to tell you the truth, it was really tired for me to play like every Wednesday, also playing in another places Thursday, Friday, and then Saturday dance on sunset. So I said like, man, who's been like playing nice in the song nights? And my decision was to pick another DJ, Mike Maraus, to be like resident DJ with me at the Danzon Sunsets. So that was like the first guy who joined the crew. So we were two people already. Like, yeah, we're two, man. Growing.
So you're growing. So now you're going from throwing parties to starting a collective. Um,
I didn't thought as a collective. I
you
just
didn't. You just.
thought, yeah, I thought about it like just like, well, I have two residencies. One, I'm the only resident DJ at the Danzón Night in Guatemala City, and the other one is Danzón Sunset in Antigua, Guatemala, and I'm doing it with Mike Maraus as resident DJs, but always with the same idea to share with other DJs. So we were sharing with some DJs at the Danzón Nights and also with other DJs at the Danzón Sunset. So we were all sharing.
You were all sharing. Okay. Um, yeah. I mean, definitely, house music is about the love, right? It's about
Yeah,
sharing and it's about the giving. Can you talk about what what part does giving play into your whole like philosophy?
that's everything, man. That's everything. I think we are all one. And when you give, first of all, that's giving. It's the only, for me, I don't know if for you or for someone else. For me, giving is like the only thing I've seen that really fills my heart.
Yeah. What are you giving?
Everything.
Like what?
Like like the meaning in this 2 nights that we're talking, or in my whole life.
Well, let's talk. Yeah, let's talk about the music. Let's talk about
Like in the nights, like at the beginning I started playing, and I was the only one, and I played an all night set and whatever. And as soon as it started growing, I wanted to give other guys the opportunity to close the night, like to have that opportunity to share and whatever. So I started giving the spotlight.
hmm
and and I think, and that I really like giving, like working and then giving out the space to other people.
yeah,
That
yeah,
like helping other people to fulfill their dreams. Like.
yeah. What else? What else do you give?
And what else do I give? Music. And I don't know, man. It's all about giving, man.
It's all about giving, man. You give it. You give your. Yeah, I mean, you give your time. You give your energy, right?
Yeah,
You
yeah,
give your support.
yeah,
You're supporting your peoples.
yeah. I
And
think.
that's one thing I definitely felt when I went down to Guatemala and played for you guys down there. I felt very much a camaraderie and a love between all of you, and it resonated with the people that were at your parties. Sometimes when you can go to parties, it can have a strange vibe, but I just always felt that your vibe was great, and I'm a huge believer that it's kind of starts from the top or it trickles up, like you know. So you've set a very good stage. So
Thank you.
you're welcome. Um, so all right, so you got the party going. You got another party going. Now you're starting to start a collective. What's your
Mm.
next step? I mean, what's your
I
next
used,
step?
I used to have a radio show, a really small radio show, and it had a different name. And as soon as these two residencies were growing, I said, like, man, this this name, I should change the name of the radio show. So I changed it to Danzon Radio, and the idea was to, pues, again, open the platform to show people what was going on around here, and show what DJs and what artists and what music was going on around the small scene. Then it was growing, and I said, like, I have I want to release a label. I want to release my album. I had my album on the way, and I wanted to release it, but I had like really bad experiences with other labels around the world. Till today, I haven't seen a penny. So I said, like, man, I don't care if I get signed by a really huge label or whatever, but at the end, at least I want to put my music out there, and I don't care if I get rich or whatever, but at least I can say it's mine. Like, really, like when you have your house, like it's your house. You worked for it. You feel proud of it. And I said, like, I want to release my album on this label. Like, I didn't have ideas of bringing people or whatever. I just said, like, I'm gonna start releasing my music here, and we'll see what happens. And like a few months later, you were the second one to go on board on the label, and after that, I think again, something that started from the love of something, uh, expect the unexpected.
Yeah. So you just kept going and you kept going, um, and you just when you had those fears, you just didn't listen to them and you just kept going.
Yeah. And
Um,
the other important thing is that, like, do the things really that come from your heart. Like,
mm-hmm.
there's a difference between doing things that come from your mind and
Yeah.
doing things from your heart. And and people even here think, I don't think, if nowadays they think as they used to think. It's but uh, but they used to think that I was signing people because I wanted, like, to go out there and get some gigs or whatever, and I didn't do that because of, of that. I really did it because, first of all, I felt chemistry with the people, like the bonding. That's the first thing I really I really think in a relationship has to happen. And then because I really like their music, uh, and everything that comes after that, it's just comes from another place that I don't know. You know,
I hear you.
yeah.
Just do what you love and keep
Do
pushing
what you
for it.
love. Yeah.
All right, so now I'm going to kind of swing the questions a little bit, and I'm going to be,
Uh-huh.
and you know, I'm going to be that DJ that's just starting out, right? What do I gotta? What's the best way to approach you about getting a gig?
Me?
Yep.
Just Yeah, just find me on Facebook or mail, and I will get to you.
Right, but what I mean, what's Because I mean, there's different people to use different strategies to get a gig on. Like, what works like for you without like like upsetting you, or what's a good way to do it? A professional way to do it, I guess you can say.
To approach so you can get a gig.
Yeah, if I want to play at a dancing night, and I'm just starting out, or maybe I've been DJing at home for the last 2 3 years. What do you what should I do?
Record some demos and go look for the opportunity. Like if you can send a mail and you don't get an answer, then go check where the danzon nights are and give a CD out or a USB and really fight for what you want to do. Like, don't 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 accept a no for an answer. That's yeah, that's the best way to do it.
Okay, so you don't accept no for an answer, but is there a tactful way to do that? Without if I'm like really like I will not take your no. Like
No, because I've received some demos, so people can some from some other DJs, and and the music it's maybe it's not underground, so I answer to them and tell them what I'm looking for,
right.
and what's danzon, what the sound of danzon is, and also I even help them to find gigs on on other platforms. Like I know people over at EDM and whatever, and so I
Oh,
refer people.
you're a unique individual. You're definitely a unique individual who takes the time and is very helpful. Um, all right, so sounding, it sounds like really the best way is to give you demos, and
Yeah,
yep,
yeah,
demos, and just be patient and be cool, be cool. Don't get upset if you don't
yeah.
get
I think there's a piece of the cake for everyone.
yeah.
So if and we gotta find not for fame or whatever, but if we look for what our heart says, we will find the
Yeah.
perfect piece of the cake.
So have faith. Have faith that
Yeah,
it's gonna work out and you're gonna get it.
yeah,
Um, so it's interesting because I just watched a great video from Dr. Wayne Dyer, and he says whenever those little voices come into your head about something you want to do, a great little strategy is if you have faith, then all you got to say that it's on its way. If you're worried about you not get, so you just say, number one, you say it's on its way. Number two, you say I desire it, and then number three, there's nothing to fret about.
yeah.
So
I
those
think
are
if you have the idea, then it might start coming some visions.
hmm
When you have some visions, just start doing at least the smallest step, but you're starting to do it and like create your vision.
yeah, absolutely. Um, So making a living as a DJ. Do you have some advice about that? I mean, you're
Uh,
doing it. You've found a way to pretty much focus 100% of your time towards your label and all the events. Um, what would you recommend someone that wants to dedicate 100% of their time to music?
uh, have faith.
Okay,
No,
have
for
faith, but
real.
what can they be doing to make some money? Because everyone's got some rent, and
Yeah,
then everybody wants to.
sometimes you gotta do stuff that you won't like. Like I've played in places that they aren't my like favorite places, but I really wanted to live from this. So it was it was that or work on a job, an 8 to 5 job. That I think that I did that, and I didn't like that. So yeah,
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it's you got to make a decision, or if music is what you want, you got to make a decision.
Yeah,
to do whatever you can. Whether it's getting involved, working at a club, or promoting, or something I do. Even myself, I do like weddings, to DJ weddings. Sometimes you may need to get a job or do some music at a store. You got to get resourceful, right?
yeah,
Resourceful in the way you're doing things, because ultimately, when it comes down, if music is really what you want to do, then you got to surround yourself as much music as you possibly can with the people, and then the break starts happening, right?
yeah, yeah, yeah. As soon as, o sea, you won't even know when everything will start popping up.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Exactly.
yeah.
Um, we're gonna kind of start wrapping it up here. Um, I'm curious. I notice you're pretty effective when it comes to getting sponsors for your events.
Uh-huh.
What's your approach to getting sponsors?
The maybe nowadays, man.
What
But
do you do?
I didn't accept a no for an answer.
You didn't accept the runner. So okay, so I'm the sponsor, and you
So
call me and you say, well, go ahead. Let's say you call me and you say, hey.
I had to live from this.
Hmm.
Like when I took the decision, I, I came back from Argentina, uh, lived 1 month with my parents, and said, I cannot live here. I cannot live here. And also, I said, like, I gotta start, like, it's now or never. And so I gotta start living from the music. So it was two decisions: to start living alone and to start living from the music. Imagine that, man. Imagine that. So I had to see what to do, man. I even accept like 100 quetzales, that it's like $10.
Yeah.
I even said like, man, give me 100 quetzales, and I'm gonna play 3 hours, and started becoming creative with what I was giving them back, for those 100 quetzales. But I was grateful for those 100 quetzales, and after that, they were happy, so they started giving me 200 quetzales, and they were happy, and. But sometimes one of the the mistakes I did in the past was that there were some sponsors that they were giving me 100 quetzales, and I said, no, no, thank you, I don't want that. I want 1,000 quetzales. If not, I won't accept. And those were mistakes that, till I learned from them, I said like, okay.
Why were they mistakes? What do you mean?
Because I wasn't being grateful, for the 100 quetzales that they were giving me. I wanted more. Instead of the 100 quetzales, I said, no, I want to accept. So I didn't receive the 100 quetzales nor the 1,000 quetzales, you know? Because the sponsor came down and said, like, okay, here are 100 quetzales. And play 2 hours and whatever. And I said, like, no, I won't play for 100 quetzales. I'll play for 1,000 quetzales. And they were like, okay, so we don't give you 100 quetzales. And was till that day that I really need money. Like I didn't have money to eat, man, and I didn't want to ask my parents because I took a decision. Like I said, like I'm gonna go live by my own, and I won't. For me, going back with my parents and asking them for money was like saying I failed. Like I I didn't do it. So till that day that I needed to eat, uh, I was grateful for the 100 quetzales. I even remember I went back with a sponsor and I said, like, after saying to him 3 times I didn't want the 100 quetzales, I went back and I was like, hey man, I will accept your 100 quetzales. And he said, now I don't have 100 quetzales, I will give you 50 quetzales. Okay, give it to me.
Oh my God.
So yeah, man. Like,
Wow. Wow. So it sounds like gratitude plays a big part in your career, and
yeah, man. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, that's
nice,
yeah.
real nice. Yeah, I think that's gonna wrap it up for us. I think it's a great way to finish, you know, who's ever listening out there or watching this, it's it's important to be, you know, sounds like you're maybe if we can sum it up, you know, the way to become a DJ in this world, you know, maybe you can give couple things, you know, like maybe gratitude or what's your philosophy there.
Practice, have faith, and be grateful, man, for what you're receiving out of it.
Awesome. That's perfect. Thank you so much, Jose Raul, Gonzo. Where can people find out more info about what you're doing in your label?
Uh, you can go to the. We're on Facebook. Danson Perez is the like the whole platform, but they can find us as Danson Records. SoundCloud also Danson Records, and and Twitter, everything Danson Perez.
All right, and
And if
I'll
and if someone's interested in sending demos or whatever, uh, they can send it to info@dansonperez.com.
perfect. I'll make sure to put that on the notes. Cool. All right. Thanks a lot, and enjoy your 60-degree weather down there, while we're in our 30-degree weather up here in Chicago.
No, man, and thank you for the interview and really continue doing it, man, because you're really helping everyone. Continue
Thanks.
doing it, man.
Yep. Thank you. Yep. Hopefully, somebody watching here will get inspired and be the next Gonzo or Derek Carter or whatever.
Or Greg K.
All
Thank you,
right.
bro.
Have a good night, everybody, and we'll come back next time.